God, we pause and we thank you for a beautiful weekend. We're thankful for our independence of the country we live in, and we pray for those that keep us safe, those that wear a badge and uniform. Be with them and watch over them. Just pray for our leaders, those in Washington, those around the state. Watch over them and keep them safe. Lord, we're mindful of business before the county today, and we ask for wisdom, godly wisdom, that we might do those things which be proper in your sight, and we pray for direction. So be with us and guide us this day. We pray in Christ's name.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Commission meeting, July 6th. First item of business, we have minutes, both executive session and regular session. Entertain a motion unless we have changes.
Motion to approve.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
0. Payroll, number 13, calendar year 2020, totals $241,618.55. 182 claims totaling $351,151.90.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
0. We'll move right to Scott since we have a longer agenda today. Morning. Good morning.
Just have a couple things here. One, to give an update, as of this morning, we have 60 inmates in jail. 30 of those are pretrial superior, 9 of those are pretrial circuit, 10 F6, and 8 DOC. That's currently where we sit this morning. The only two other things I have on the agenda here, one is to read the bids for the Humvee, so we might as well get to that. I got 3 new bids. The last bid was $3,000 at the last one, so I hope somebody bidded really big so that we can put an end to this.
You knew it was going to be painful.
No.
I knew it would. It'll go till perpetuity if you want.
Let's see here. First bid from Ryan Carroll is $3,300. Julie Eichler for $3,050. And a bid from Josh Maxwell for $3,200. So it looks like the highest bid is $3,300. So the next bid will have to be $3,350.
I'm glad we got 3 bids.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, still going. This will be what, the 3rd meeting now. So
That's been more than that.
Oh, you'll have a few
I
more.
don't know.
You'll have a few more
I
meetings.
can't remember. So
It just feels like more.
I'd say if we get that done by September, you'll be fortunate.
well,
Look at it this way, that's better than interest on it.
that's true. That's true. The only other thing I have, recently I've been, at least through our Facebook page and through some call-ins, we've been getting a lot of complaints about grass in the roadway. People that mow and put large amounts of grass into the roadway, causing traffic hazards, especially for motorcyclists and such. So we've been yielding a lot of complaints because of that. I reached out to Roy to ask him if we had any kind of specific grass ordinance in the roadway. He had shared with me that I think back in October of last year, possibly time frame, that one was presented to you guys. I don't think any action was taken on it. So Roy kind of updated that ordinance itself to include grass clippings in the roadway. And I'm not talking just a little bit. I'm talking like excessive amounts of grass clippings. I mean, we're not out
Right.
to
Where it covers the lane almost.
yeah, we're not out looking to enforce, some little bit, but, when your grass is a foot tall and you're pointing your, mower chute towards the roadway, it's gonna cause some issues, so,
You got an ordinance.
I don't know if that got forwarded, I believe that got forwarded to you guys for review.
Did we have a document signed for whatever reason? I was thinking maybe there was a document signed, but it was part of a broader thing?
There was one, there was an ordinance, but, and I reviewed that and sent that to Scott. And it more prohibited filling in side ditches than it did the highway. And that's why I thought, actually, I thought we might have already had it.
So that would be like when somebody pushes their snow into the side ditch.
Yeah.
And causes the drift.
But this was also other debris.
Right, there was other things.
Yeah, it's, according to this one, it's tacks, bottles, wires, glass nails, grass clippings, yard waste, vegetation, snow, or any other article or destructive or injurious material may damage or injure person's vehicle or animals.
No, we're talking about what they passed already.
Oh, I gotcha. So,
But that's the new one.
yeah,
But the
this,
new one,
this
correct.
was the new one that.
The new one's more specific.
Right.
And I recalled when, at the time I did it, I think Ohio and Virginia might have already had statutes on the subject, but
The penalty section states that offense and fine not less than $50 for a first offense, $100 for second offense, $200 for all subsequent offenses, with the fine going to the county general fund. But no fine of any individual offense shall exceed $2,500, plus attorney fees and judgment if entered. But, I mean, obviously, we would use this more,
Right.
you know, as educational in the beginning if we did so, you know, to educate. You know, we put notices out and have put notices out before in the past, you know, for people to do those type of things, or to cut down corners at intersections of their crops, just for, you know, visual view and those type of things. But, you know, it's nothing, you know, people keep sending us complaints. There's
Right.
nothing we can enforce.
I'd go,
Oh, go ahead.
I'd go ahead and make a motion for ordinance 2020-11.
I second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
0.
Okay. Now, is there a time frame that has to go through, Roy?
since that has a penalty provision, it's gotta be published in the newspaper.
Okay.
So,
And that'll happen through you?
I will, yeah, I usually send it, to the news banner in WordPerfect forms. They don't have to retype it. I send it to Martha and tell her
Okay.
what to do.
Great, and if you just advise me when that's
Yes.
completed, and then we'll make sure that that gets put out there as well, so. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
You wanna read Josh's?
Go ahead. I don't have it
Yeah.
up.
Josh has got several people on vacation, so he's working with a crew, so he's sending his notes in. Tam's gonna read them.
Backhoe crew has transferred to the North Townships. We have finished ditch work and entrances on all road conversions and plan to seal them at the end of this month. We will then finish things up after fall harvest. Patching crew is now working the South Townships. Durapatcher has done several random spots and crossings and will continue to do so. We will start our yearly chip and seal process the week of July 27th. All small structures scheduled for 2020 are now installed and complete. They will get asphalt overlays in the next few months. We still have mowers out cutting side ditches daily. The yearly unsung heroes are our 2 mechanics. With the heat and equipment, they work daily to keep us up and running. They are never talked about, which they prefer, but they are key to us functioning daily. So kudos to our mechanics. That's it.
Thank you, Josh, for that.
Thank you.
Okay, Nate, we'll move to you, if that's okay.
Well, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Couple of different items here, and we'll get to our annual road conversion petition right-of-way status, which is our 4-page spreadsheet. We won't go through that line by line. I'll just get through the bullet points of it for you. If anybody's curious, I'll make that available. All right. First things first, heat straightening contract. Have for your consideration a construction contract from Duty Excavating for the bridge rehabilitation work. That'll be for the heat straightening portion I'm still in negotiation with Central Painting. Hopefully I'll have a contract for you to sign from them at your next meeting. That'll keep us moving forward. Contract amount, I believe it was $97,600, but it's available there. I didn't put it on my notes, the exact dollar amount for that.
Is the paint being covered?
Paint is being covered by Central. They're essentially doing the paint repair work as warranty work. So
Right.
I'm working between NDOT, Central Painting to try to make that work. I'm hoping to have that signed here shortly. Once I've got that signed, then I'll send my letters over to NDOT requesting disbursement of funds from community crossings. That'll essentially lock us in for the dollar amounts.
Still trying to get that done this year.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm hoping to have that done here as soon as I can. So we have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for this month, actually. So we should have a meeting with everybody involved. We'll get our schedule finalized, and then I can let you know when closures will start so that we can start doing that work. I know nobody will like that, but it'll most likely be during school season. So
Things can change at school anyway.
yeah, who knows?
Right.
So in the midst of this, that's almost a low concern at this point,
Yep.
considering all the other business that's going on. So, but that's just for requesting your recommendation for approval on that contract.
Any discussion? Motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
Thank you. Update on the deterrent structure, also with this bridge. I put out documents for quotes the last week. I'm requesting quotes from 5 different construction companies. I should get their quotes back a week from Thursday, so I'll have those in prior to your July 20th meeting. I have here construction cost estimates from Heartland REMC for supplying power to the 2 locations for those lights and for the camera systems. The estimated total for both is $2,718. I'm requesting your approval on that. I'll have them start the utility relocation in advance of that project. if
Motion to
that's-
approve.
Second. You don't know how I want to make that something that has your name on it.
Appreciate,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
appreciate, I'll have them move forward
You're
on that.
happy to let me do that
I'm
one?
going to be thinking about that.
All right. As I brought up a little bit in the drainage board, the Community Crossings Matching Grant, second call for this year, has been, I'd say they've withdrawn it, but they've essentially delayed it. I've put in verbatim the press release from NDOT. Due to the pandemic and the global economy, the state of Indiana is pulling back on certain grant opportunities because the second call had not been released. It was supposed to be going live today. Actually, they've just withdrawn it. There will be new news coming out in September of this year. I suspect it's a delay, but it's in every possibility that they may just cancel the second call and then just push the funds into 2021. It remains to be seen. So with that said, I was going to hopefully present a financial commitment letter today for a project and move it forward. Right now, we'll just set on the Bridge 99 project. We have
Everything's
right
ready.
away. Actually, what I may do is I may start with utility relocation and get those set up. And worst case scenario, we'll fund it locally. But certainly we want to leverage these against grant dollars. That just certainly speeds things along. So it's the first grant to see that delay, but I fully expect the governor's support of this. It's just going to be a matter of time. It was always my intent to go in 2021. It was sort of a hope to try to leverage the dollars for this year, and then they pull it back out. So, hey, that's all right. Continue on. We've got plenty to do in the meantime. So that's just an update for all of you as to why we're not pursuing that. It's been withdrawn for a time. So with that, number 4 is probably the most notable one on the list. It's going to be the road conversion petition and right-of-way status. As the public may or may not know, every year what we do, rather than try to do regular updates through the year, once a year we essentially close the petition process, both from right-of-way selection and from petitions for new roads for gravel to chip and seal conversion on June 1st. And then the first meeting in July, I present kind of the totals of where we're at for the year. And that essentially sets our tone for what are we going to look at for the next 12 months. And so this is that presentation of those findings. We accept the petitions through the year, but we don't total it, we don't consider it. Essentially, it sits in the hopper until the next year. So, with that said, this is the new total for the year. A couple new updates for you. Of the road sections that we have, no new road sections have 100% petitions. I've got different petitions in from different road sections, but none of the road sections that didn't have 100% in 2019, they still don't have 100% petitions in 2020. So it didn't change any of the rankings of the roads for consideration at this time. Next point on that, I have 4 road sections that have submitted 100% of their right-of-way documents since the 2019. So I think we requested right-of-way from 17 road sections in 2019. Pretty aggressive request. We went after a lot of different road sections to kind of get a hierarchy. Only 4 of those submitted 100% of their right-of-way. And those are actually highlighted in yellow on your sheet. That'd be projects 80, 44, that's the number column, 80, 44, 49, and 43. Those are new 100% right-of-ways. So those are essentially eligible for us to consider construction. The other ones that you see, the percentages in the right-of-way SUB column, that's kind of the status of what right-of-way, the percentage of the right-of-ways that we've received back. And many of them have received right-of-way documents issued to them twice. Anything that was issued in 2018 that was on hold from 19, have seen it at least twice. These have all been sent out. Numerous times we've contacted everybody on the list, seeing if they've received those or attempted to, and many of those that had signed petitions just have neglected to submit the right-of-way documents back to us. So we have 16 road sections that previously submitted 100%. Obviously they're missing 3 road sections, and I'll put this on here, 3 road sections that were selected in 2018 that we requested right-of-way have had no change in the response as far as their right-of-ways. So those are 450 East, 250 South, and I believe there was a portion of Meridian that was also part of that request that we've had no response back from them, or sort of no change. That said, I just request that you take this list under advisement. I'm not asking for recommendation as far as which ones we want to schedule for paving. For the very same reason, NDOT's pulled back on some grants. I think that we're not sure where we're going to see on MVH and local road and street funding. So, and that's been financed heavily for road conversions. So right now we're just getting a schedule. So at this time, I just request you put this under advisement, and we can look at this at another time.
So question, 2 West, 116 to 224, I always get a lot of requests on that one.
Yes.
Yearly, and I see we're at 63% on
Yes.
right-of-ways.
So we're about
And I know I can
5 of
see
8.
4 homes.
Yeah, 4 homes, 8 property owners. Of those, we've got 5 of the property owners have submitted the right-of-way. We still have 3 that are holding out.
Okay.
It's to us there. Yeah. So, and short of the government using condemnation rights to try to secure those right-of-ways by force, that's not been our tact with these. Certainly, it's not our intent to force people to take the road conversions.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good practice to get into, and we can request this. And one thing that this has shown is that the fever pitch for road conversions is not universal. What we're seeing is that there are some people that really want these, but when we're asked to sign on the line to allow us to do it, there's no cost. Something I didn't put in my notes. I think there's some people are concerned that we charge citizens $10,000 for the road conversions. That's not the case. When we do this sort of project, it's a service to the citizens. So it's essentially all inclusive. All we're asking for is the right of way to make that happen, and we've absorbed all the cost to this point. So it's just we filter the time out as far as doing so many. We can't do all of them at once, but clearly the right of ways aren't turning in. We're not getting 20 miles a year.
Right.
And you've only got four new ones in 1 year. So
Thanks, Nate.
all right.
Are you
So-
getting calls from people who have signed saying who hasn't signed in my road yet?
Infrequently, I just got one today. So it's very rarely, there are probably, I'd say I could count them on one hand, that my secretary knows individuals by name, that when we see the name come up, we know exactly what they're asking for. And part of this process is to document, here's what we have. And so we can put that out as an official document. So that's the status, and simply try to respect everybody's rights and those who are interested in doing it. We want to work with you and try to make these happen. Certainly, it's not our intent to slow the process down. We're certainly trying to make these projects happen in a timely manner.
But it may be a little more pressure for a neighbor to call saying,
Yeah, I mean, if individuals see that their project is held up on the list and they're convinced that the road was going to get done, certainly call, get the list, and we'll work with you to kind of know who has not signed. Some of that information is on the county GIS. As they get recorded, the right-of-ways start to show up. It's under new right-of-ways. They can look at it just the same way that I would and try to see what we've got. Now, I have access to the deeds as they get recorded, but that's usually my first check to see what I'm missing.
but that's also a moving target. I
Absolutely.
just noticed last week an obituary from somebody I knew. She was a
Yep.
right-of-way owner.
Yeah, and that's key for us, is as we secure right-of-ways, then that's forever. Petitions can change a little bit, so if a signed petition came from somebody and then that property owner passed away, their estate or the successors may not want to bother with the conversion, or maybe someone who said absolutely no way, then they pass away, then the interest changes, and so we try to reflect that. That's why it's key for us to get the right-of-ways, because once the right-of-ways are done, then we have what we need to move forward. So I certainly want to try to encourage everybody. We want to work with the citizens in doing these projects, and this process has worked out. But thankfully, we're not trying to convert every gravel road, because clearly I've got 12 or 13 projects on this list that they ask for petitions and they don't even turn the petitions in. So we track that even, just to say what are the interests. So, and then the last thing I have on my list is just a right-of-way dedication. I know I've got one from Leslie Gaskell for Bridge 99. I think we might have had another one that came in recently, but
A right-of-way or purchase agreement?
well, I guess a purchase agreement. I guess that would be more accurate.
Yeah, purchase agreement.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
And I'm taking that to county council tomorrow night to get them to correct the purchase.
Appreciate it. Any other questions for me?
I think we're good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nate. Next up, Judge.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Seeking approval this morning for one item, that is a lease the city of Bluffton for some office space. Just a little bit of background, as you know, part of my jurisdiction is juvenile jurisdiction, so it includes cases, what are called Children Native Services cases and termination of parental rights cases. What I have currently is what's called a guardian ad litem, or a GAL. They advocate for the best interest of children, and in our case, we use an attorney for Wayne Beth Weber.
I have a
primarily.
first-hand experience with this, just on
Yeah,
Thursday.
yeah. So it's similar, but I use one in these cases to advocate for the best interest of the child. It's worked really, really well, but it's kind of come time to supplement that a bit. And there's a program called it's called CASA. You've maybe heard this from other jurisdictions. It's a court-appointed special advocate. It is a volunteer who then advocates, is appointed by the court, advocates for the best interest of children. We've not had a CASA program in Walls County before, so this is new for us. I was approached by Ginny Vogel, and some of you know her as the guidance counselor with Bluffton Harrison Municipal School District for a number of years. She's retiring, was looking to continue to stay busy, and so she has agreed to be the director. So she's been busy the last several months working on her training and getting up to speed for that to be the director. One of the first things we needed to do, and she took on,
was finding some office space, and she approached the city of Bluffton and was able to secure with them an agreement to lease to the court, to the Wells County CASA, an office space. And so Roy and Tony Crowell, the city attorney, have worked on developing, creating a lease. It is for indefinite term and for no money. So it's just an empty space that they had, and so I'm seeking your approval for that.
So moved.
Okay, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Didn't mean to jump the gun.
Yeah, you were on that one.
Ready to roll.
Jeez.
You probably got something better to do.
I do.
I'm sure you do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Maybe in between here, right-of-way purchase agreement. Roy?
We did
That's
that.
what we
We
just
just
did.
handled
did
it.
that.
We jumped ahead.
Thanks,
Sorry.
okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
I also have two
Oh, did he pass this
right-of-ways for
We'll pass
the
that
county
down.
to accept.
Two right-of-ways.
These were not road conversions, but minor subdivisions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0. Okay. Tim, we have you up next.
It's time for the annual Pike County Services Financial Update.
Thank you so much.
Morning, Tim.
Revenue request. I'll hand it out as usual, financial information, and added one thing, a cash flow statement on the back. And this is the exact same information I presented to Adams County Commissioners and Council already. I did that last month, so they've already approved their portion, and so both counties see exactly the same thing. So, it's been a difficult year, no doubt. One of probably the biggest things that we have is staffing, trying to find people to actually do the job. And then our turnover is very large too, due to the fact that we will run 24/7, and the jobs can be very difficult, very intimate, and that, so not all people are cut out to be able to do what we do. So that's always a challenge, and we actually make our revenue through the services that we provide. So so that's been very difficult. We've done a large variety of different approaches to staffing and that, incentives and different organizations and businesses and so on. So, but it's a continuous problem in that. So, last year when I presented to you, we actually had 4 empty group home beds, and that's a substantial amount of money. And we are actually have filled 2 of those, and because of the COVID situation, we were we were in the process of actually filling the 3rd bed, and that came to a screeching halt. So, because everything was shut down, so we've been kind of pretty much under quarantine until just about a month ago for all of our group homes, and that nobody really would come in and come out except for absolutely had to do it. As soon as the state is up and running as far as doing what they do, because they actually come into the houses, they do checks, they make sure that the person that's going to be filling that bed actually fits into the home and so on. As soon as they do that, and we're hoping that's within the next couple of weeks, then that process should continue. The individual is still very much interested in going to our home. This one's actually located in Decatur. So then we would have our 3 out of 4 beds filled. So, but we continue to work on that. And that whole process is controlled by the state. They give us the packets for individuals that are looking for homes, and then we actually look at it as far as a match for the people that are already in the home. And there's sleepovers and all kinds of things that happen. So it's a slow process, but hopefully we've got, our 3rd one will happen here shortly. So, and because of the COVID-19, we actually shut down our day services program. We had 70-something to 90-something people per day that actually come to our day services program. We have cautiously started reinstating the program. I think the most we have in one day would be like 11 people. And that, we have a big facility, so people are scattered throughout. We still observe all of the COVID precautions that are required, thermometers and questionnaire, and we do the whole thing. Anybody that comes in the door, we still try to limit visitors to those that are essential, is all that's coming in here. So that affects us too, because we have very little day services revenue. So it's just one thing after another. So
Right.
it just-
my boy can't come, so.
yeah, I know. Hopefully that's pretty soon now.
Yeah.
And they're trying to actually to bring more people. Joyce, Joyce, yeah. And she's very cautious, and she loves the people we serve, and so she's being very cautious. But actually, we've been a little bit more progressive than what most anybody in the state has done that does what we do, and that. But still being safe while we do it. So because certainly the people that we serve are very much at risk, or they're the vulnerable folks. So anyway, so that's all been a big challenge. Last year, we ended up with a negative $144,000. I know that sounds kind of bad, but if you look at the actual depreciation that we spent last year, it was $260,000. So as far as a cash flow standpoint in that, we're still in really good shape. As far as our financial reserves, we're in very good shape. So as far as an organization, financially, overall, we're doing pretty good. Do we like to see it, a positive number? We certainly do. But we're not for profit, and if we break even, I'm a happy guy. So, and as long as we're still getting everything done that we need to do, and we do. I mean, all of our properties, we have a large crew that actually maintains all of those. They're in good shape. We fix things as we go, so we try to stay on top of everything that we need to do to make it the best place possible for the people that we serve. And from feedback that we get from state individuals, they say if they were going to place a family member, it would be at our organization.
That's good.
So you can't get a better compliment
No.
than that. So anyway.
So Tim, you're looking at the same amount as last year.
Same amount as last year, not asking for an increase, even though I don't think this money actually comes out of the general fund that would affect the county and stuff. It comes from a separate fund from the state and that. But yeah, this year with everything going on and the pressure the state's under and that, and no increase, that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So anyway.
Yeah, just one comment, and for what it's worth, administrative expenses actually went down, professional expenses went up, which is actually, I find a good ratio, and I'd like to see that, so thank you for that, and I have a motion to approve it.
We'll second that.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Well, thank
And
you.
thanks again. You did a
Thanks a
great
lot.
job.
Betsy Monia, we have you next.
Colorful today.
I will start out. Well, kind of along the lines of what Tim was talking about, COVID kind of shut us down, as you all know, for a while too, so our numbers are not near where they would have been had we not had the pandemic. The first report is our annual comparison, and these are through the end of June, everything that you're seeing. As you can tell, we're only about a fourth of what we were at last year instead of over half or more, because we were on the trajectory of surpassing last year's numbers, but with shutting down from April 3rd through June 15th, that kind of killed our numbers. But we are, on a good note, we are, as of July 1st, we started providing all kinds of transportation instead of limited to just work and medical and deliveries. So now we are transporting people. We have installed barriers in our vans to protect the drivers. Everybody's required to wear a mask, drivers and clients, and we are only transporting limited numbers per vehicle to allow that social distancing. So trying to do everything we can to keep it safe for everybody, but we have opened back up to our normal transportation categories. The cumulative comparison is from January through June for every year. Again, just a little over half of what we were at June of last year because of being shut down for 2 months. So, for us. Monthly trip comparison, we were averaging last year 3,632 trips per month, and again, only at 1,886 on average per month for 2020. And then that's also reflected in the trips per business day being down. We were averaging 175 trips per business day last year, and so far this year, over the first 6 months, our average is at 104. But if you looked at the first couple of months, it was considerably higher per month. But so does anybody have any questions on any of that? We are starting to see our trips go up pretty quickly since we've reopened to all clients and types of categories. So our biggest struggle, I think, going forward right now will be having enough drivers to cover because we still have several that are going to be out due to concerns.
What are your driver's requirements? If anybody's listening and would like to become a driver.
Yeah, so their requirements are, once they're hired, they would need to, they go through a 2-week training period, and they need to get a full hire endorsement. They have to pass a pre-employment drug test, and they have to also pass a fit for duty physical. So other than that, we do all the in-house training. We have RTAP, which is through the state. Mouse keeps sliding down, it's just a little big. The Rural Transportation Assistance Program does a lot of training for our drivers. So, but pretty much they have a valid driver's license, pass a drug test, and pass a fit for duty physical.
Thank you.
And then I just have one more thing for Blake. In order to, because our new vehicle came in order to get our municipal plates and everything, I do need your signature on both the certificate.
Titles.
Yeah.
Motion for that?
Second.
Sign
All in
and
favor, say
president?
aye.
Aye.
It's just right down there. Right. That way I get it.
So in the next annual report, we'll be waiting for this large asterisk on there that's going to denote the COVID-19, correct?
Yep. Okay, that's all I
Thank you.
have.
Okay, thank you.
It's unfortunate that the numbers are down, but they are a reflection of the fact that we're just trying to keep people safe.
They are what they are.
They are what they are.
And the other thing that we had hoped to do today would be to be able to give you the invoice to sign, so we can have reimbursement, but we couldn't pull that together in time. So could I have the board's approval that Blake could possibly stop by our office and sign that invoice once it's created?
Motion for the president to sign once available.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0. Yeah. You'll let me know when, whatever.
We'll do that. And then the last item that I have this morning is signing and attesting to the contract to provide public transit in 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You're just hot on those motions today.
I gotta get ahead of you. Trying to get my game back.
Right there.
Maybe I'm just slow.
It's not blue.
Maybe I'm just
Thank you.
slower.
I have blue back here. but-
I'll be back.
Okay. Thank you.
You got me programmed to have blue ink.
So many are asking for it now, so it's not a bad thing.
It's not a good thing.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Thank you.
See you later. Thanks.
Mike, we have you next. 4 things. So you picked the order you wanted to
I might,
run them in.
you
So
might need a lease agreement for me to be able to. We'll just do them in the
okay.
order that they're on the list, so. The petitioner's here for the rezoning. Come on up with it. If there's any questions that come. So the first thing, we have a rezoning petition for Ronald and Renee Gustafson. Did I send that correctly? I'm sorry.
Gustafson.
Okay, say it faster. For a unanimous and do pass recommendation for rezoning of property on the northeast side of Ossian, just out of corporate limits, from residential 1 to ag residential.
And I just, for the board, I spoke with Mr. Gustafson regarding some of the questions that I had in terms of what the use was for. And I feel that within his petition and approval by the area plan, moving forward, he understands what he's dealing with in terms of with the health board requirements. And I'm okay with that. I know there was concern amongst neighbors. I will share that with you, and I've spoken with them. And further thoughts and things like that, I feel comfortable enough with what Mr. Gustafson has shared with me to know that I think in good faith moving forward that I would be okay with that.
How many acres are we talking?
It's 3.44.
Okay, and so I think you had made maybe a recommendation to the contrary at the time of the meeting with the APC. Can you tell us maybe your thought process?
Correct. So the director's opinion reflected about a larger development opportunity in that area. That the reason for those properties being zoned residential 1 was because that area was set aside for residential subdivision development in the future. And it's to the south and to the north and west of this property. The one caveat is there was a rezoning that we did on the northwest side of Ossian, where we changed the property from residential to ag residential here recently as well, for more of a farming operation.
So what would be future impact?
Yeah, go through the whole steps, because I'm not the same
yeah,
thing here.
If we, because I think your project's fine, I really do.
Yeah.
But what happens if, they decide they're moving out next year and we've got this rezoned to this new zoning?
So the ag
What's
resident.
the worst thing that can go in there? Or what's the worst thing that
A
can happen?
small
to the
amount
neighbors?
of livestock animals. Just people that want to have some cows, chickens, goats, something like that. I mean, there's no risk of a higher, like a confined feeding operation. One, there's not enough acres. It is a largely wooded lot that is an old platted subdivision that I think probably had bigger dreams at one point in time. than
Yeah, it's been
it is
there a long
today.
time.
Yeah.
So from a standpoint of having it as a home-based business, I take it, that's what
Yes.
this would be.
Correct.
Can you have a special exception with the property with the current rezoning, that it's not like
Current zoning.
forever going to be this? Because that's where I get in the problem, where you take and you spot zone something in the middle of,
Mhm.
that's not in
Can
unison.
we do an exemption instead of a
The thing that
change?
is
Well, yeah,
where
we had-
Felder Hart
Yeah,
on State Road 1
Mhm.
used to be Body
correct.
McLean or something.
Yeah,
Right,
yes,
body
yeah.
And I just recall that at the
It was
time
zone
when I was
B3,
young.
yeah.
I mean, in the middle of no man's land, it was a business.
Yep.
So give me some scenario, best case, worst case, where this could lead us. From a
Well,
like you
rezoning
said,
would be,
the
a rezoning would be a
development
permanent thing until, I mean, the commissioners could request it to be zoned back at a later date.
Right.
There is the ability in certain cases that the commissioners can adopt conditions or commitments on the use, and that's something that you would need to establish in writing. It would be something that would
Well,
be agreed upon
kind of
between
like
the
what you said,
parties.
if it changes
Yeah.
hands,
Can we
can we, it automatically goes back to the previous zoning?
I don't believe there's that you can do an automatic process. You can go back through a public hearing through the plan commission and have it rezoned, but there's no reverting policy that I'm aware of. There is the ability to say that the uses could be limited to a specific use. So you could have the ag residential, which allows for a kennel operation, which is what definition falls under. But you could put restrictions beyond that. That would be recorded and be part of the deed record.
Which might be a way of not going
But those
further
would be
with
things
like,
that you would need to have established before you vote on it. So maybe something that you delay today if you want to work on coming together with some language that would be recordable. I don't know if we want to talk about details on what that would look like. Because right now, I mean, yes, the zoning would allow for an expansion of your business later on, beyond, because you said you were just looking at a few
We're
dogs
mom
at a
and
time.
pop, yeah, we're
Not a-
no employees.
But it
we have
could
any
be,
employees. It's
it
just-
could be expanded into a, more of a breeding kennel.
But the problem is not what you say
Right,
it'll be.
right.
The
No,
problem
yes,
is
that's
what
a-
the next guy lets
Yeah,
it
but
become.
somebody-
Right.
Exactly.
If
Could
they
do
have
something
50
else,
dogs out
yeah.
there barking outdoor, you don't
Right.
want an outdoor kennel, but the
No.
next person could.
Correct,
Yes.
Even
correct.
if we limit it to the kennel use.
Yeah, and that's and then you could limit it to a certain number of dogs on the premises as the kennel or something like that. Those are things you could look at.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it needs to go haywire, and I think basically what you're thinking is, if I'm thinking correctly, is, I really don't want the farm animals to go back in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
we have dogs,
Yeah,
we're
that's
good with that,
Yeah.
and keeping it like what we've spoke of, but yeah, there's some limitations as far as moving it down the road further. I guess I just don't want to have a bunch of chickens back there and et cetera, you know what I
A
mean?
small slaughterhouse.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
those
yeah.
are things.
We would like
yeah,
to permit
yeah.
what you would like.
Right, I figured
Not
it
the
wasn't
next
me, it would be the next
person,
person.
yeah.
Hopefully, it's gonna be 40 years of this.
Yeah.
Right, but
Well, there
you
you
know,
go.
And then we end up with our lap.
lifespan of my wife and I. But I understand. I figured it wouldn't be me; it would be the next
Yeah.
person who occupies.
But yeah,
that.
you could put together an
But
agreement that would be.
he said that
for-
you guys
Because
could,
it's Pandora's
you guys
box.
could meeting later to petition that to be back to R1.
We could, but it may not be us guys.
Yeah, that'll be something that would be hard to
Somebody
retract.
that replaces
Yeah.
us.
It'd
down
be
the road.
easier just to put a
Decades
few
from now, yeah.
stipulations on the backside of it that
Let's work on that and have it ready.
would give you the freedom yet
That's fair. Yeah.
to do
So
what
if
you
it-
want to
if it's
do.
re-
if
Delay
it's
it too much longer.
rezoned, then that property, not these particular owners, but that property is available for any permitted use.
Correct, unless if there are restrictions.
Yeah,
To that
right.
point, so yes,
So
yes.
they could, I assume you've drafted an ordinance for the rezoning, and we
Correct.
toy with that or tinker with that.
We could,
and
yeah, we'd
limit
add
that.
and stuff, and then make it so that it would be attached to the deed, so that it would come up in title searches. Would be.
And you could have that for us for next meeting.
We can work on that. We just need what you're wanting us to put together.
Okay.
Well,
I'll work with
what-
Roy
what
once
he-
we know
what
what.
it- What does he write down exactly what you want? We kind of know what it is, but in writing. And then we can
Yeah.
look at it and tweak it and have Roy have it
Yeah,
ready.
so just
Such that it still allows workability for you
Right.
to
Some-
move it forward. It's
some
just-
reasonable growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, let me ask you this, I think they've asked about a special exception rather than rezoning.
Well, so we would have to establish that in the ordinance.
No, I understand
To-
that, I
yes.
understand that,
Yeah.
but the ordinance, by tweaking the ordinance, you could basically make it a special exception by
We could add that. you could-
limiting
well,
the use.
If you did that, then you would, like, if you would say kennels could be allowed in the residential zoning districts by special exception would be to avoid rezoning could cause other issues. But I think this is a procedure that is done by many communities across the state when there's a rezoning where it needs to be zoned, maybe business or industrial, but you only want that use at that location. The other
Right.
uses are not
Right.
fit for it. Then you get down to specific and
Yeah,
write
let's-
something down.
Let's
Right.
bring something together and have.
Because in the future, we don't know, but that could be developed into
Yeah.
multiple residential lots like it is
Right.
set up today.
So that'd be
that's-
specific for you, and he'd cover that, and we're good with on our side, so it'd still be good. Yeah,
Yeah, we can work towards that. Okay,
Let's plan on that.
all right.
okay. So we'll keep it moving for you.
Right, I'm trying to get a future open date, but I don't see one.
I gotta put it 2 weeks back, right?
Just 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
July
We've been working on this since probably like February, but I know that Corona made it
Oh,
crazy.
Lots
so.
of things.
Yeah.
Been crazy.
So, yeah, so I think we're good moving forward from that.
Okay.
So you're good from here.
Thank you.
So, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Nice to meet
So you don't have to sit there anymore.
I'll get with Mike and I'll
Yeah.
give that to him then?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll email him, it's basic.
Yep.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you.
Thank you,
Yep.
nice to meet
Appreciate
you.
it.
Okay.
Yep. Next up, we have a Geographic Information Systems sharing agreement. This will be with the town of Zanesville. They're working through some drainage work, and we're requesting data to help them out. So when we do that with an entity where we could benefit from getting their information back, as far as information for our system, we like to put together an agreement with them, and then that also allows us to request their assistance if we would do like an aerial photography flight or something like that to help pay for the portion that is in there.
Will this include the entire town of Zanesville?
Yes.
Even the Allen County portion?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. And we've already been given access to Allen County information
Right.
for this project as well, so I will submit that.
So have you reviewed this
Yes,
document?
yeah.
I
We've,
thought so.
we've already done one with Huntington, I believe.
Yes, we've done a couple of these. They've just kind of been sporadic as the projects have.
All right. Let's need a motion for this.
Motion to approve.
I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Just one? So that one.
Thank you so much.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the discussion in regards to road improvements, in regards to RTT's apartment and U-Store project and North Oaks addition. We've had plenty of discussions on this. So this was in part to formally present the recommendations to the county commissioners in regards to roadway regulations or restriction improvements in regards to the stop sign locations that have been suggested, as well as the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit throughout the North Oaks addition, as well as reflected on in the RTT's project, as well as the discussion of the improvement of the small amount of footage between the end of the property line and the county road.
So how many items, excuse me, are we talking about? 2? 3? Or are we
Sir,
grouping those all together?
Well, as far as the county would need to look at adopting the stop sign locations into your code of traffic ordinance.
And that would be reflected by our engineer studying that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Review and make sure what you have and what you don't have listed in there already for those intersections.
Okay.
So I guess my thoughts on that would be Nate would look at that, and I can't make a decision to that.
Correct.
But,
That's,
but Nate
yeah,
will.
But this is us formalizing the request out there.
Okay.
The same thing with the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. Again, the board felt that was more proper than 35 mile per hour.
Nate, would you agree with that? Through a subdivision?
Sure.
Okay.
So those were two of the suggestions to help calm traffic flow through the neighborhood.
My recommendation was the connection between Maple and whatever street name chooses
Yeah.
to be in the
Mhm.
apartment complex be limited, has no construction traffic until the completion of the final building.
Sure. I think that was part of our request back to you.
Does that make
Actually, I
sense?
guess you want this as a formal motion, so we
You want
we can do
each one
that.
as a motion, you want this
We'll
one
take the-
specific?
Take the
That's
stop
the-
signs under advisement
Right,
as
yeah.
recommendation by the
Yeah.
highway department and county engineer.
But I think
That's
both
fine.
the speed limit is the same thing, you would need them.
Second, the
Yeah.
recommendation for speed limit will be 25 miles an hour through that subdivision.
And I will, oh, you want to stop?
Let's just do it at that. And then-
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
let's
I
do that.
will second that motion.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
And then the Maple Street connection, I would make a motion that that be completed by the county to county standards, barricaded during construction, left as an emergency connection during the development phase until the filling of the last building up to 80% and certification as such, and then opened up for use at that point.
To county standards on the road.
To county standards on the road,
Okay.
which can be what we choose to make to county standards.
Right. And is it my understanding that would be a public sidewalk through that apartment area?
In the
In the
inside the
In
development,
the
yes.
inside, no,
Development.
inside the development. I'm just,
Yes.
I'm trying to, yeah,
This
so
is
I
just up
will
to the edge of the
second
property.
your motion
Yeah.
for the county road development to stay at county standards.
Yes.
Upon completion of the
Okay.
project and occupancy, I believe,
Well, it's
Upon
county
receiving
standards,
occupancy
barricaded during
approvals,
construction.
yeah.
of the
and
last
then
building.
80% filling of the last building is when we'll open it beyond emergency.
Yeah.
The barricade will come down after construction, but
Right.
it'll be emergency only until they get it filled
Correct.
to 80%. And then it can be open to traffic, regular traffic.
Okay. That's good.
You vote?
Motion?
A motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
Okay. All right, and the final thing, I just simply pass it. You have a copy of this.
Is this what we signed and got money for or something?
Yes, so this is the actual application for the COVID-19 small business grant. It has been publicized, and wanted to make sure that we were giving kind of an update of where we stand, and then we do have a request for you in your involvement of the review of the applications as they come in. So, wanted to make sure that you saw, you had that access to the application. A lot of the requirements are basically set forth by Okra and through HUD, so you don't have a lot of wiggle room other than the amount that we offer to each grant applicant. So we're collecting the information primarily to verify that they comply with the goals of the application itself, which is mostly to help low to moderate income employees retain their employment. And that's done.
We were granted 50,000.
Correct, correct, yes. So we hope to help roughly 25 local businesses along with we get those
Application
set.
submitted by
Yeah.
July 24th, so they've got 20-ish days
Yep,
roughly.
yep. And we've already got a couple of them into the office already and that filled them out the first day they were out. So we expect to see quite a few more can come in. We'll keep publicizing it. As you get there, the request is, we're going to have a review committee look over all these applications, and we'll come back to the commissioners for your blessing on the final application
Great.
list. And we would like to have one of you on that review committee. They'd meet probably the week following the application due date.
What week is that?
So they're due
24th,
on
so
the-
it'll be August.
It will
Last
be-
week of July.
yeah, last week of July or early August.
I can do that. Happy to.
Yeah.
Let you
We're
know
looking at
unless
getting,
you want to. You've got so many things to do.
So she's on it. You do it the last week.
If you really want to.
If you really would like to, I don't know. I'd be thrilled.
I'd be happy to do it.
Yeah.
So we would make our decision at the August 3rd meeting or the 17th
Quite.
meeting?
quite possibly. And what our goal is, so before we can tell the businesses that that they're getting the funds, we send our blessing to Okra. They review it to make sure that we've met the federal guidelines, and then they send back. And when we send that out, what we're going to do is we're going to send out the claims for each one of the payments. So every one that gets approved, they will go ahead and pay right away, even though there will be a phase where they'll send it back to us, saying that everything is okay. So they are being our insurance policy that we're not going to be stuck repaying the federal government for any of these funds. Basically, it's their So
Great.
we're in good standing right now, and we're getting ready to move forward and get the applications in. This is going to be tough because there might be some businesses that don't qualify that really need the money.
I was going to say, some of the stuff I've heard, there are people that are deserving the qualifications.
And we hope to have more applications than we can fund. But I mean, both those things are going to be tough pieces to go through. See how it goes. But I will add Amy to
Do you
the
have my
list.
phone number? Texting is best for me.
Okay, I will get that for you. All right.
Thanks, Michael.
Anything else for me? Not?
Appreciate all the work.
Thank you.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you.
There you go, Mike. Here. Up to the top.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, please, monthly reports.
First thing on the list is the property purchase resolution.
Okay.
Not the resolution, but the decision to seek
Oh,
a property
yes.
purchase resolution from county council.
Yes.
Thanks for the clarification.
Take off that last word.
Yeah.
Motion to seek a property purchase resolution.
Plus, we discussed also you designating appraisers,
Oh,
so we
yes.
don't have to come back and then you choose.
Who do we choose?
At
Well,
least two.
Okay.
I know we used Neil Worden and Joe Wettrick,
Okay.
and then there was a third out of Fort Wayne, and you didn't write down her name, but she did the
Oh, yeah.
condemnation,
Do you remember the
State
name
Road
of the-
1.
Rita.
Yeah.
Yeah, last name for the
Okay, so with the
Those three.
first two being our top choice and her at the back, how would that be?
I don't care about the order. In fact, the last time, we used Neil Worden, Joe Wettrick, and Wettrick came back with a higher.
Who's higher?
Who's higher?
Okay, well, then
Price.
those three select for me, please. And, okay, that's my motion.
Gabriel, yeah,
Rita Gabriel.
my suggestion would be, first two of the three that will accept the assignment.
Good recommendation.
Okay. So,
Ready?
I'm ready.
Second.
Thank you.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
I knew we'd get there, I just had to wait.
It's okay. That was a motion and motions.
There's going to be a shred event at the Washington Main Commons on August 1st from 9 to noon, and I just need your approval to allow that on that date.
Go for it.
Second.
Oh.
Oh.
That's a new motion. Go for it.
Okay. I meant you go for the
I
motion.
know. I wanted to let you have that.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Didn't expect that, did you?
We're just not
You
coordinated.
did not
today.
expect that.
I've submitted some new Code of Ordinances for 2019 that you had passed to American Legal Publishing, and his estimate for this is $700 to $1,300.
Motion approved.
7 to 13.
7 to 13. What did I say?
Yeah, that's
No,
what
I
you
just
said.
Is it?
It's just
You said $700 to $1,300.
Yes.
expensive,
Motion, second.
I think.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
If we must.
Yeah.
Who did that motion?
I made that.
Kevin
You
did.
Okay, Kev.
Do you need signatures? Or
No.
just one? Okay.
And And the Wells County Historical Society is requesting their annual request for funding in the amount of $10,000 for 2021.
Motion to approve, and
Second.
we appreciate all they do to keep everything organized. for
Right.
us. Also service to the
All in
county.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
0.
And I had emailed you the statement of salaries and wages that were submitted from all the departments for 2021, and you can review and make recommendations to council before August 20th if you would like.
Okay.
And then that's all I have.
Not sure if I have anything else. Roy, you have anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Around the room.
I have nothing.
Blake's good.
Keep me busy.
Good.
Blake's here.
I'm supposed to be on vacation, but I'm here this morning. I start when I get done.
Well, don't waste too much, don't, hurry up then.
We're finalizing the grant submission for the 17th deadline set by the DOC. Last week, Governor Holcomb threw us a little curveball with the pause because the government center was getting ready to move people back in stages over the next week or so. Now that's been abruptly halted. We were in the process of changing a couple things in the IntelliGrant application on Thursday, and the darn thing locked us up. Not unusual for IntelliGrants to do this. We were trying to reach people to get it resolved. Unfortunately, I think a lot of folks who were working from home may have taken comp time on Thursday. We called everyone from our program manager to another program manager to the technology coordinator to the director of our division. Got no responses back. I'm hoping when I go back this morning in the office, we've got that response. They're going to unlock us so we can get back in, make those changes, then print it. So I don't have the grant to you yet. We're going to send out probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning to the commissioners and the board. I have the letter for the commissioners. We're meeting next Monday as the advisory board to approve for submission to DOC. There's no increases in money. As a matter of fact, we're waiting to see what happens with the 15% reduction the governor has asked all divisions to do. We aren't sure how that's going to impact Community Corrections Division, if they're going to take it out of administrative in Indianapolis. Are they going to share some of it with all of us? We don't know. So I've got the letter for the commissioner being acknowledged about it, and since you're going to be in the meeting next Monday as board members, so we don't have any conflicts, it would probably be better if we had you guys take care of the letter today.
Right.
So I'm here to present that letter.
Okay.
You need me to sign?
This is for Blake. There you go.
This one's Blake, right?
This is Blake.
Yeah.
Is this
We reviewed it today, and then we're signing it.
our meeting is when?
Next Monday
Monday
at
the
11:45 here in this room.
Kind of almost need it to be dated today.
What date was it dated?
Well, you're dating it in advance for Monday. You're saying
Oh,
we
did Don
reviewed it
put
today,
next Monday?
But if we sign it on the 13th and we're signing it outside the meeting.
Right, I'm sorry. I didn't
That's
realize,
the
I
only
overlooked
flaw.
that. If you want to, if,
Line it out?
line, yeah, cross out the 13th and put today, I apologize, that was an oversight on my part if I didn't catch it. Like I said, we were working so hard trying to get someone to call us back from Indianapolis to unlock the computer system.
I
It's
mean,
frustrating.
that's just the only thing.
No, and that's why I wanted to make sure we,
If we're approving it today, we should
yeah,
sign it. We
yeah, and then
signed it today.
I wanted to keep everything separated so we didn't have any confusion. Blake Mike, don't let my wife see you have a stamp like that. She'll want one at our house, and then I don't know what I'll be signing.
I say Lisa can tell you where she got it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, the point is you don't want one.
No, I don't want my wife to know you can do that.
Did we have a motion for that?
Not yet.
Okay.
Motion.
So motion to approve moving forward with this grant application. And letter of approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
Thank you so much. I started thinking
Now
about that.
traditionally, we're having our meetings on the second Tuesday, so is there a meeting on Tuesday as well?
No, we weren't scheduled to have one in July. We're having a special one, which we advertised 2 weeks prior for the grant, just to do the review of the grant. Now that they're getting the timeline in sync with the county budgeting timeline, this is the first time they've actually been able to pull it off in 30 years of me doing this. So I'm hoping next year we'll have a little better understanding of how they're going to do this. COVID created some unusual glitches for all of us, I think.
So I'll try to be there.
11:45?
11:45, yeah.
And I unfortunately won't be able to make that.
Okay.
Mike, keep on.
Thank you, Sammy. I appreciate you saying that.
So this is kind of our support of what?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And we aren't doing anything different. We put in there provisions for COVID, seeing as though COVID looks like it's going to be with us for the foreseeable future. Also, I sent Kevin an article last week about the swine flu that the Chinese have kindly finally admitted they had last year when they were slaughtering all their herds, that they don't think has gotten human-human transmission yet, but if BBC is reporting it, I'm going to guess we're going to see that as a new influenza strain probably in the fall. So it could be an interesting fall and winter for all of us.
Well, yeah.
Any other questions?
No comment.
Love your blue shirt.
Well, thank you. Well, this is my semi-casual, not full work look, so thank you guys so much.
Enjoy vacation.
My wife's got a list of things for me to do.
Good for her.
Keep you out of trouble.
That's very true.
Well, it's not just Blake and I and Bill. Right, Bill?
All right, Jessica, did you have anything? Audience?
Is it okay if we announce the public hearings?
Oh, sure.
RSD has information meeting and public hearings delivered to Senator Murray next week, Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm
Good.
anxious to see how those go.
Gotcha.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Moving forward.
We
Right.
greatly appreciate
Yes.
everything that the RSD members, you've gone through a heck of a time and lots of service, so thank you so much.
No problem.
He's retired anyway.
That's right. What else?
Hearing
I'm
nothing
sorry.
else, I'll have a
Motion to adjourn.
motion.
Second.
Kevin says yes. We're done.
Hey, it's only 10:15. That would have been like.
Wow.